So the Curry Cup is over, Super Rugby's over, the World Cup and the Tri-Nations all come and gone. I have Philip Venter this week with me in the studio, and the two of us are going to look at the personnel that South African rugby have available going into the future. So Phil, let's start at fullback, and we've chosen Lambie, Aplon and Tauta as three possible fullbacks. Going into the first test, the next test the Boks play, who starts at fullback for you?
Well, there's obviously massive excitement for Tauta. He represents everything good about South African rugby, and I think he's the man that you would probably go with first.
Okay, I'm going to go Lambie, but I want to see Tauta come off the bench, perhaps even at outside centre.
Absolutely. Very versatile.
Moving across to the wing, we've got a choice of 7 wings that we've put down, and I'm going to read them. JP Peterson, JJ Engelbrecht, the youngster from Province, Lwazi Mvovo, Bjorn Basson, Lionel Mapoe, Brian Habana, Gio Aplon. Now, if I were to pick two, I'd go JP Peterson because I think he's fantastic, a lot of legs still in him, and I'm going to go Mapoe because I think he's a star of the future. Aplon, however, deserves more game time, hasn't come off the bench enough for us, and perhaps could start on the bench covering fullback and wing. Your thoughts?
Absolutely. I also think it really depends on the Super 14 for Habana as well. If he proves himself there again, he's one that we shouldn't be throwing away and putting on the scrap heap.
Good point. Now, in the centres, we've chosen Jacques Fourie, Johan Sadi, Jean de Villiers, and Francois Steyn. If you were to pick two centres?
At this stage, I would probably go with Steyn, and I would probably look at Sadi, but possibly off the bench to start with. He just got an incredible amount of time, and a decision maker at 13 might suit our new style of rugby that hopefully we're going to adopt.
Wouldn't that be exciting? I agree with you. I go Steyn inside Jacques Fourie, who is the form 13 in the world and has been for many, many years. All right, and now we move to the quarterback, to the fly half. And you know, for years we've had no fly half in South Africa. We've moaned that we haven't had a fly half since Hansie Brevis and then maybe Nas and maybe Henry Honeyball, but we haven't had a lot of fly halves. So we've now got 4 youngsters, and you could pick any of them. My view on fly halves, if you pick one, you stick with him. You give him confidence. You say, go play, and we're going to back you come hell or high water. Very much like Larkham was handled by the Australians. He never slotted in his first year immediately, but he ended up being the greatest 10 in the world over a period of time. Who do you think we would go between Yankees, Lambie, the youngster Goosen, and C.S. Eberson?
The youngsters I also want to see in Super 14 before I make my judgment on them. But I think Lambie to start for continuity's sake is going to be important in game plan execution. But I do think that Giantjes has certainly shown in the final, in the semi-final, he's got incredible temperament, and I'd like to see a bit more of him at the highest level.
It looks like Carlos Spencer's had an incredibly big impact on the way he's playing. I think he's fantastic, I agree with you. Finally, on to scrum half. Francois Hougaard, Cyril Pretorius, Fourie du Preez, one of the greatest rugby players in the world for many years, and Jano Vermaak. My view is it's time to start Francois Hougaard. He's got that X factor. He was incredible at the World Cup. I'd love to see him week in, week out with the same fly half. And then, of course, Fourie du Preez, you don't want to write him off. He can prove himself at Super 15 next year again. Well, then, he's a quality player. What do you think?
Absolutely. Look, Super 15 is going to be tricky for the Bulls because they're going to have the same quandary from ball one, from week one. So it's going to be interesting to see how they handle that. Again, du Preez would have to prove himself like a banner, but Hougaard we're all excited about, and I want him on the pitch come hell or high water. I think he's one of our best rugby players in the country.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't want to say Michael Bandisio's there or is going to be there, but what a fantastic Curry Cup final, and what a great season.
A great final. Reminds me a bit too much of Dan van Zyl for my liking.
So in summation, having picked our side, and if I can just say as well, we're not discarding the Habanas, the Fourie du Preez. We're just looking to the future. The side we've come up with is Hougaard and Yankees as our halfbacks, Steyn, Francois inside, Jacques Fourie. Our wings are Mapoe, Peterson, and at the back we got Lambie. Coming off the bench, Gio Aplon, Cyril Pretorius, and Jaco Tauta. Use him anywhere you will. So that's our back line. Next week we'll do our pack of forwards, and I'd love to see your comments. That's all from me. I'm Stephen Morris. This is Rugby Vibe, brought to you by Prankster, and we'll see you next week.